Hola! This video serves as an audio supplement for my manual, Accent Reduction for Spanish Speakers. I will be reading all of the lessons in their entirety. You may surely use this video all by itself to learn to speak with a clear standard American accent. But the video is best employed when the viewer follows along with the book. This is especially helpful when I discuss spelling cues. It sort of requires the listener to at least have looked over the manual. Details for this book, as well as my other accent reduction manuals, can be found in the About section of this video. In the meantime, settle in and get ready to master speaking with an American accent. Lesson 1. The flag. The ah sound, as in not, solve, and watch, is often mispronounced by Spanish speakers who mutate it to not, solve, and watch. In fact, foreign speakers from around the world mispronounce it in a similar manner. Only Americans consistently pronounce it not, solve, and watch. Because the proper pronunciation of this sound immediately defines your nationality, ah is called the flag. The flag appears in the following spelling combinations. When O precedes single consonants B, D, M, P, and T, as in job, rob, God, Todd, jog, log, mom, Tom, stop, top, lot, hot. When O precedes consonant clusters CK, LV, and PP, as in block, rock, solve, involve, opportunity, copper. Other popular flags: watch, apology, problem, dollar, honest. The mob was positively involved. My mom told me to apologize for the impolite response. Watch for a job opportunity. I stopped the drop-off. The modern body got unlocked. This chair rocks a lot. Congress declared a holiday for toddlers. The problem was the monsters were not spotless. We stopped the podcast for hot chocolate. Lesson 2. The glass. The basic vowel O, as in go, to, and lo, is often mispronounced by Spanish speakers, who reduce it to go, to, and lo. When Americans pronounce the basic vowel O, as in sold, it is solid and clear, which is why it is called the glass. When Hispanics pronounce it, they often add an sound before it, as in sold. Spanish speakers need to keep the glass clean, pronouncing the sound with a tense O. The glass appears in the following spelling combinations. When O precedes a single consonant followed by an E, as in open, over, cope, home, joke, note, robe, token. When O is followed by an A, as in boat, bloated, Joan, moan. When O precedes an L, followed by a single consonant, as in old, bolt, cold, hold, sold. She was told not to throw the snow. Row the boat over the ocean. Only the lonely enjoy flying solo. He lowered his shoulder. The rose opened to show its soul. Go blow your own nose. The robes were closed by rows of smoke. I suppose she was woken by the cold. Ghosts don't bolt from rabbit holes. Lesson 3. The entrance. To step inside a building, you need to find its entrance. To speak with an American accent, you need to learn about the entrance, which is the I sound in the words in, gym, and bin. Spanish speakers often pronounce it in, jim, and bean, all of which are incorrect and confusing to the American ear. The entrance, like all American sounds, needs to be pronounced less in the nose, as in intuition, and more in the mouth and jaw, intuition. Because it occurs in a large percentage of words, learning the entrance is a quick way to enter into a new level of speech. The entrance appears in the following spelling combinations. When I precedes a single consonant that ends the word, as in kid, lit, in, trip. When I precedes consonant clusters CK, MP, NK, LL, and SK, as in kick, sick, pimple, wimp, drink, think, still, will, disc, risk. The feminine plural, women, despite being spelled W-O-M-E-N, begins with the entrance. Many Spanish speakers mispronounce it women or woman. The proper pronunciation for two or more ladies is women. The trip begins with a simple drink. The kid went to the gym with two women. Wait until we finish our business. He didn't pick in the first minute. The chip on his lips made her wince. I think it'll still be missed. There were millions of things put into that. Lesson 4. The final L. When L is used at the beginning of a word, such as in look and laugh, Spanish speakers generally have no problem with it. The final L appears in words such as call and reel. It is called the final L because it ends a word. Even if it doesn't technically end a word, such as in help and wild, it is still referred to as a final L. Spanish speakers can pronounce this L, but generally underpronounce it. A Hispanic man might say the sentence, "If I told you I'll call you, then I will," and barely pronounce any of the L's, sounding like, "If I told you I'd call you, then I will." Americans have a hard time understanding such a sentence because they are expecting to hear those L's. The final L is one of the few cases where the spelling of the word actually reminds you to pronounce it. Below are some examples of L endings combined with the sounds we covered in lessons 1 through 3. Final L when it appears with the flag: college, doll, revolve, solve. Molly apologized for her involvement. The doll resolved to go to college. Final L when it appears with the glass: old, bold, cold, folder. He boldly scolded her for untold crimes. His shoulder was painted with gold. Final L when it appears with the entrance: bill, chill, until. William felt guilty about the killing. Jack and Jill went up the hill. The water chilled until it spilled. Lesson 5. The child. The first sounds American children make are often goo-goo or boo-boo or poo-poo. Baby talk. Children learn very quickly to ask for food and to tie their shoes. Because this tense U sound is so important during childhood, it is called the child. Americans pronounce this U off their lower lip, resonating in the jaw, as in you, movie. The speaker of Spanish tends to pronounce it in the nose, yo, movie. When the vowel E follows U, as in cruel, fuel, true. When OO precedes consonant cluster TH, as in smooth, tooth. When U precedes a consonant followed by E, as in tube, introduce, dude, use. EW spellings, such as in new, through. Other popular children: approve, do, move, shoe, suit, through, you. What's true for me is true for you. The community approved the opportunity. The accused lost his toothbrush and his shoes. Who among the crew turned blue? They performed their duty in unison. He knew there would be huge risks. Can we assume the moon is ruined? The dude threw a fit and went to his room. Lesson 6. The woman. This sound appears in words such as could, look, and push, and is a relaxed version of the child, which is pronounced cute, rude, and shoot. Spanish speakers almost invariably mispronounce the woman by turning it into the child, so should becomes should, or book becomes book, which irritates the American ear. Learn to respect the woman by handling her gently. For example, good, pull. OULD spellings, as in could, should, would. U before a pair of L's, as in bullet, pull. OOK spellings, as in book, crook, took. The woman began on a good foot. Look at what we put on the hood. The chamber was full of bullets. We couldn't count on the crook. You shouldn't have shook up the rookie. Lesson 7, Final D. Most Spanish speakers have difficulties with D when it ends a word, such as in sad or made. The primary mistake that Spanish speakers make is to fade out before they pronounce the D. For example, I heard what you told me would disintegrate into I heard what you told me, which leaves the American to play fill in the blanks. Below are some examples of D endings combined with the sounds we covered in previous lessons. Final D when it appears with a child. Dude, include, feud, mood. He rudely chewed his food. The crude dude was nude. Final D when it appears with a woman. Could, should, would. Who wouldn't want to do what he could? The building was made of good, solid wood. Final D when it appears with the flag. Odd, body, model, nod. The toddler was named Todd. His body was like a model's. We found it odd that she moved to Cape Cod. Final D when it appears with the glass. Code, cold, folder, mode. The toad boldly crossed the road. The truck driver towed the heavy load. Final D when it appears with the entrance. Bid, did, rid. The kid from middle school solved the riddle. The prize was hidden inside the lid. Lesson 8. The cat. This sound is properly pronounced with an open sound, as in mad, having, and gas. Spanish speakers tend to mispronounce this sound by turning it into ah. For example, I was mad about not having enough gas. The Spanish mispronunciation might even be considered richer, but Americans expect to hear a more open sound, as in, I was mad about not having enough gas. Domesticate the cat by creating a more open sound. When A appears before a single consonant, B, D, P, S, and T, as in crab, lab, at, bad, cap, dad, fat, gas, happen, map, pat, rap, sat. When A appears before consonant clusters, CK, CT, NG, PP, ST, and TT, as in attack, back, fact, hang, sang, happen, fast, last, matter. I was glad we had time to catch that fabulous movie. The actor was sad about the sacrifice. It's better to laugh than to get mad. As a matter of fact, I approved the transfer. They gathered gasoline before the attack. Lesson 9. The cow. Can a cat turn into a cow? It can when learning to speak with an American accent. In Lesson 8, we covered the cat, which appears in words such as at and hat. The cow grows directly out of this sound in words such as out and how. Spanish speakers begin the sounds with an ah sound, as in out and how. Since English has nothing like an al sound, it leaves the American confused. Milk the cow. Learn a more open pronunciation of the sound. O-U-D, O-U-N-D, O-W-D, and O-W-E-D spellings, as in cloud, loud, around, sound, rowdy, allowed. O-U-T spellings, as in out, about, shout. We counted over 1,000 clowns. How were you allowed into town? The coward was proud he brought down the house. Now I know what he is all about. The rowdy gang was always around. Lesson 10. The wave. The Spanish speaker tends to go up in pitch on stressed syllables. When an American delivers a sentence, they tend to go down in pitch on stressed words and syllables. There's no way you can take that today. When a Spanish speaker speaks English with an upward inflection, the American is forced to translate it into his own code, a pattern of downward inflections. One of the ways to learn the downward inflection of American speech is to master the wave. The wave appears in the long A sound, as in the words way, take, and today. Try to make it go down in pitch. Many words in this category are spelled with a Y at the end of them, as in day, say, and tray. Do you notice how the lowercase y sort of hooks downward? Think of that as a visual reminder to go down in pitch. You don't want to say play, way, with an upward curve. You want to pronounce it play, way, with a downward wave. When A precedes a single consonant followed by an E, as in ace, babe, maid, rage, take, same, wave. In fact, that E at the end of such words is referred to as the silent E. Its sole purpose is to cue the speaker to pronounce the preceding A as the wave. AI spellings, such as acquaint, brain, faith, rain. AY spellings, such as bay, day, say. Today, I was able to say his name. It takes a lot to change a state. The situation remains shaky. Maybe I was insane, but I still felt safe. They set the table and ran away. The agent knew the name of the case. Lesson 11, The Force. In George Lucas's Star Wars, the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi talks about the Force. He refers to an invisible, all-powerful energy which holds life together. There is a sound which is the force of the English language. The sound is found in many words that deal with life, family, and money. It is pronounced and it appears in many meaningful words, such as blood, country, done, mother, hunger, love, one, and hundred. When Americans pronounce it, the sound carries weight. When the typical Spanish speaker mispronounces it, it is incorrectly opened up to awe, as in blood, country, mother, and love. When the force is mispronounced, it hurts the credibility of the speaker. To become a master, you must learn the ways of the force. O when it precedes THER, as in other, brother, mother. ONK, UNC, and UNK spellings, as in monkey, uncle, drunk, trunk. ULT spellings, as in ultimate results, indulge. Nothing was under the covers. Somewhere the others began the discussion. Does love believe in justice? Douglas jumped at the chance for lunch. Lesson 12. Consonants make the difference. The vowels, such as A, E, I, O, and U, carry the sounds of a word. Most of our work so far has been geared toward recognizing and reproducing the proper vowel. Vowels play a big role in both English and Spanish. The consonants, such as B, H, R, S, and V, shape the vowels. The consonants play a much larger role in English than they do in Spanish. It's easy to find a Spanish speaker who says, "Buenos días, ¿cómo está?" without seeming to pronounce a single consonant. You can recognize an American who's attempting Spanish by his overpronunciation of the consonants. When speaking English, you generally need to pronounce your consonants. If you deliver a sentence like this, "You didn't know how you take vacation on a Saturday?" An American cannot be expected to understand that you meant to say, he didn't know how he would take vacation on Saturday. The final lessons of this program will teach you the most important consonants. Lesson 13. B is for basic. B is formed by pressing the lips together. Spanish speakers sometimes add a V sound to the B, as in avowed, prohibited. The V sneaks in only when you touch the upper lip to the lower teeth. When pronouncing a B, simply make sure the lips touch, but do not touch the teeth. You should not exaggerate your lips by pressing them forward. Keep it very basic. When B appears at the end of a syllable or word, make sure it is clearly pronounced, as in babe, table, or tribe. B when it appears with the cat. Bad, stab, basket. He went to rehab for his abs and back. My tabby cat was named Brad. She absolutely avoided taxi cabs. B when it appears along with the wave. Babe, cable, blade. We didn't blame him for using his brain. He baited the horse back to the stable. The bay was a great place to build a base. B when it appears with the force. Butt, bunch, bust. The bundle tumbled from the rubble. It only cost $1 to see the cubs. I hid in the tub to escape the rumble. B is sometimes silent when it follows an M, as in bomb, climb, lamb. Many Spanish speakers mistakenly pronounce the B, as in climb, lamb. Keep the B silent and pronounce the M, as in bomb, climb, lamb. Lesson 14. H is for helpful. Spanish speakers occasionally ignore the letter H, especially at the beginning of words. It's understandable, considering that the letter H is often silent in Spanish. Spanish speakers sometimes make a throaty, scratchy H, as in help or handsome. The English H is simply air, no scratches, as in help or handsome. H when it appears with a child, who, hoop, huge, human. H when it appears with a woman, hood, hook. H when it appears with the wave, hay, hate, halo. H when it appears with a force, hunt, hunger, humble. Lesson 15. R is for required. When R appears at the end of the word, as in car and here, it is called a final R. Spanish speakers often leave the R out, saying things like, I have to get the car, or you have to come here, which should be pronounced, I have to get the car, you have to come here. Make a point of pronouncing the R when it appears at the end of words or syllables. Keep the back of the tongue flat, point the tongue tip upward, and create a muscular sound in the throat. Be especially careful of the final R when it appears in unstressed syllables, as in brother, mother, and sister. Pronounce the R without giving it undue volume or emphasis. When W-O-R begins a word, O-R is pronounced E-R, as in word and worry. Spanish speakers often take the spelling literally, pronouncing it ward and worry. Replace the W-O-R spelling with an E-R sound. Word, work, world, worry. R when it follows the cat. Hour, coward, flower, power, tower. R when it follows the flag. Bother, dollar, father, locker, soccer. The worst part is I agreed to come here. The attorney was working near the target. You're safer than ever before. Lesson 16. S is for simple. Spanish speakers often add an S sound to S when it begins a word, as in estandard, Espain, or espoke. In English, words are occasionally written with an E before an S, as in especially or Eskimo. When they are, you should pronounce the E and then the S is written. However, the Spanish speaker should never arbitrarily add an S sound to a word beginning with an S. It announces to the American that the speaker is Spanish. Practice keeping the S simple. S when it precedes the cat. Spanish, stack, sat, saddle. S when it precedes the cow. Sound, sour. S when it precedes the glass. Soak, soap, sold, spoken. S when it precedes the entrance. Sit, sickness, simple. He said I should ask for the special. The star was babysitting the pussycat. It was the saddest, sweetest thing I'd ever seen. Lesson 17. V is for victory. The letter V is formed by moving your upper teeth over your lower lip, as in bury, living, and have. The lips should not touch during the formation of a V sound. Otherwise, it will sound like a B. Spanish speakers often confuse B with V. The final V, as in give and love, needs to be pronounced, for it completes the word. Failing to pronounce the V hurts the American's ability to understand you. Don't make a victim of the listener. Be vigilant about pronouncing the V, whether it appears at the beginning of words, as in vibe and violent, the middle of words, as in driving and striving, or at the end of words, as in dive and jive. V when it appears with the cat. Value, vast, having. V when it appears with the wave. Vacation, shaving, slave. V when it appears with the force, vulnerable, loving, divulge, shove, glove. Have you ever been pulled over? Eve never visited the grave. Stephen retrieved the irrelevant oven. Lesson 18. The jump. The consonant cluster which forms the sound j, as in jacket and age, is called the jump. The j sound, as in June, is made by the teeth pushing off of each other, in a way similar to how the knees gather energy before leaping. Because it is written with either a J or a G, it is difficult to determine when it appears by the way it is spelled. Many Spanish speakers mispronounce it yently and yacket when they mean to say gently and jacket. Form the jump by touching the teeth together, then pushing them apart ever so slightly. Do not move your mouth rapidly or with passion while practicing. Gently push the teeth together, then push them off of each other, as in jump, joke. At the ends of words, let the teeth come together gently, as in age, ledge. Jessica registered for the privilege. George wanted Joseph to be intelligent. Jason denied the urge to take justice on the generator. Jake just couldn't imagine the range of the jet. Jennifer went onto the ledge to change the jumper's mind. Lesson 19. Reduced vowels. In American English, unstressed vowels are often reduced to a generic "a" sound, as in the words person, sentence, museum, and debate. The Spanish speaker tends to give each vowel emphasis, whether it is proper to do so or not. So those words end up being pronounced person, sentence, museum, debate. In this section, we'll cover some of the commonly overpronounced words. Television. Make sure the third syllable doesn't become television, but remains television. Other words, reduction, situation, information. Person. Don't take the son at the end of this word literally. It should be pronounced like son. Person. Keep the stress on the first syllable, person. Many words that end with on are pronounced like that. Action, union, onion. Spanish speakers might say acción, unión, oñón. Keep the on ending reduced. Person, action, union, onion. Normal. When al appears at the end of a word, it will be reduced to ol, as in normal. Spanish speakers often overpronounce the a, normal, when it should be unstressed, normal. Many words have the unstressed al ending, loyal, personal, practical, national, rational. There was lots of action on national television. A loyal person receives medals. The union was rational about the situation. Lesson 20. Review. During this review, I'll summarize the important considerations for each of the major topics we have covered. The flag appears in words such as watch, apology, and problem. Be careful not to pronounce it "o," as in watch an apology, but watch an apology. Johnny found the job was not impossible. The bomb was the responsibility of the population. The glass appears in words such as home, boat, and gold. Don't dirty the glass by pronouncing it "aw," as in open, over, or cold. Keep the glass clean by pronouncing it open, over, and cold. He was told to go so no one would know. Joseph was the only one who heard the explosion. The entrance appears in words such as in, drink, and women. Don't pronounce this sound tensely, like treep and wheel, but keep the entrance open, as in trip and will. There is a risk it will hit him. The thin kid was willing to be king. Be sure to pronounce the final L, which appears in words such as help and wild. Don't overlook the final L, or your sentences will sound like, it was so cold that the chi was killing me, instead of, it was so cold that the chill was killing me. The call left me feeling small. Always consider the realm's possibilities. The child appears in words such as you, move, and do. Don't let the child become nasal, such as sud, movie, but place the sound in the jaw. Suit, movie. Use your best moves. Choose the new shoes. The woman appears in words such as could and book. Don't pronounce the woman with a tense U sound, as in crook or wood, but keep the woman relaxed, as in crook and wood. They pulled the wool over his eyes. You shouldn't use your good foot. Be sure to pronounce the final D, which appears in words such as include and model. Don't overlook the final D, or your sentences will sound like the crude dude was new, instead of the crude dude was nude. The wild made her scared. Her body was odd for a model's. The cat appears in words such as hat, fact, and basketball. Do not pronounce the cat like ah, or it will sound like dad or happen, when it should sound like dad or happen. The facts were classified. Had the satellite gone bad? The cow appears in words such as around and thousand. Do not start the sound with an ah sound, as in shout and now, but with an open sound, as in shout and now. Turn down the sound, you clown. How did you get outside the house? The wave appears in words such as faith, made, and station. Use the length of the A vowel to descend in pitch. Don't go up in pitch, like today or brain. Surf down the wave, as in today and brain. There are ways to say what's in your imagination. The look on David's face told me he had taken the bait. The force appears in words such as country, hunger, and love. Don't open up the force, as in brother or uncle. Use the force wisely, as in brother and uncle. Trust in justice for us. The muscle is tough enough. Be sure to pronounce the letter B, which appears in words such as brought and boy. Don't mistake the letter B with the letter V, or your sentences will sound like his job was bad, instead of his job was bad. Don't break your back carrying those books. Bill was easier to believe at the beginning. The boy brought down the building. Don't scratch when pronouncing the letter H, or it will sound like hey or halo instead of hey and halo. It happened here in the hall. I heard the holy chants. Be sure to pronounce the letter R, especially when it appears at the end of words or syllables, as in near, attorney, and wonderful. Don't ignore the R, or your sentences will sound like Peter was never safer, when they should sound like Peter was never safer. Search your heart and learn the rules. Jennifer will be here next summer, perhaps. Remember not to add an unnecessary S sound before the letter S, or you'll say soap and seek when you mean to say soap and sick. Save the stupid statue. Ask for special savings. Make sure to pronounce the letter V by moving your upper front teeth over your lower lip, as in vacant, having, and shave. Do not confuse it with the letter B, or you'll say, he used his voice to recover the boat, when you want to say, he used his voice to recover the vote. Give Victor a much-needed vacation. The slave was victimized in the cave. The jump, as in joke and age, is formed by gently pushing the teeth off each other. If you fail to make the jump, you may say, imagine what changes we could generate, when you wish to say, imagine what changes we could generate. Just change your jacket. He rejected the aging jet. Be sure not to overpronounce reduced vowels, or you'll say, he was given the Royal Medal on television, when you want to say he was given the Royal Medal on television. When learning a new word, learn to place the emphasis on the proper syllable. Mention that you're practical. He had the option of mental sophistication. This completes the reading of the lessons. If you benefited from this by just listening, consider working through the video using the manual. When you've mastered this book, move on to the next pair of books, which tackle accent reduction from slightly different angles. First, the standard American accent, which will help you deliver proper syllable stress as well as produce more distinct vowels. And second, using consonants to sound American, which reinforces syllable stress, and will boost your abilities as the consonants generate the overall resonance of the American accent. That's the road to glory with the American accent. Links to these books are found below. Muchas gracias.